Hello and welcome to the Churros y Tácticas Podcast. I'm your host, Kiyan Sobhani, joined by my good friend and co-host, Diego Lorijn. On a Friday, two-parter coming your way. Part one is for all the freeloaders. Part two is for our beloved patrons. We're going to answer some questions. That's when it gets really spicy. So if you want access to that one, you can stick around and become a patron over on patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas. I feel bad for my friend Diego Lorijn today because timing was just not on his side. He was really excited after the derby. He texted me. He said, podcast. We couldn't. I was at Valdebebas and then I was traveling. And it just so happens because of my unintentional delay, Barca dropped points against Mallorca. And we leapfrogged them again. But no sweat, Diego. You'll be able to do the intro on Monday after you guys beat a terrible Sevilla side, and we undoubtedly drop points against top of the table Girona. That's going to happen this weekend. So, what's up, buddy? It's been a long time. It's been a couple of weeks. Sorry to our listeners, and welcome back.
Thank you, dude. So you're playing Girona this weekend.
That's
I didn't
right.
realize. That's
heavyweight clash.
Ooh, definitely. Hey, and props to Michel, props to Girona. But this one we saw coming already. Girona consistently over the past few seasons, last season in particular, of course, but one of those teams when they were, I remember talking to you going potential banana peel, and you'd kind of be like, nah, they'll be all right. And then not just Madrid, but Barca as well, dropping points against Girona in the past. So this could be one where Barca get one back, but it will be tough because Sevilla, which is kicking off in a few hours from now, will be a tough task. I've spoken and a lot has happened. I'm surprised you don't mention new developments in the Negreira case, but I'm sure we're going to get to that as well.
It's too early
because there's so much to talk about.
You got.
Sure.
I can't start off the podcast with a machine gun blazing. I need to pace myself.
Just ease your way in there.
Yeah.
See, that's how you can tell. We're still in friendly terms, and this is all love, where we ease these kind of topics to each other. So that's appreciated. No, listen, in all honesty, we were due to record on Tuesday because I was like, hey, I'm back from Lisbon. So I was just setting myself up for the usual, free top of the week pod. I wasn't like, yeah, let's hit record now, motherfucker. I got your ass.
I don't know. It seemed to me like right after the game finished on Sunday, wasn't it? Can't remember.
No,
or maybe it was Monday.
Dude. I was still busy. Still Portugal on Sunday. I was doing the final on Sunday. I have been gone off the map. I've been like secluded in this tiny little bunker, this little cell, you should say. I should send you some pictures. Actually, I haven't shared anything with you except for probably what you saw on Instagram, which were these lovely beach pictures.
The highlights
by the the highlights. But to paint you a picture, Kiyan, for 6 consecutive days straight, I was in una jaula, like a bunker, a little cubicle, as big as I would say a Ryanair toilet, with a microphone and a screen in front of me, commentating, narrating the beach. So the Euro Beach Soccer League super final, which consisted of 6 consecutive days straight of football between games a day. So between different nations in Europe, right? 8 games a day. That meant starting recording from 8 a.m. in the morning until I finished around 6:30 p.m. in the afternoon, get home to the hostel like at around 7. So you're talking next level intense, commentating games, 8 consecutive, without break, mind you. Without break, no break. We didn't even have time to take, and sorry to be very vulgar here, but going to the bathroom was a challenge in between. Like, that was your break. They called it 15-minute break. It wasn't 15-minute because around the 10-minute mark, we already were doing a pre-game for the next game, right? Which starts you start broadcasting around 5 minutes before kickoff, national anthems, yada, yada. So Dude, I was so burnt out. Like I still feel like I look like a wreck. I've actually decided to trim my beard and look a little bit more fatsoen, look a little bit more human, feel a little bit more civilized. But I came back on Monday evening, and man, like it was, I was just, destroyed mentally. It was a complete mental burnout. And the beautiful thing obviously was that, one, I got to do this experience in a lovely setting, Ericeira. Much love to the beautiful town of Ericeira in Portugal, surfer town, a must go to spot for any surfer for sure, but any eco tourist or there's the kind of tourism that's kind of very healthy. There was a lot of beach volleyball, football, surfing, kite surfing taking place, and it's the Atlantic Ocean, so it's fresh. It's nothing like the Mediterranean. But so I must go there. But the work itself took place in Media Pro Portugal, in Media Luso. The competition was held, on the other hand, in Alghero in Sardinia, the beautiful island off of the coast in Italy. And it was initially sold to me like, you're going to be commentating this tournament, the Euro Cup of beach soccer in Sardinia. And I was like, holy shit, I'm going to be on the island. Anyway, I just painted you the picture. So
Diego, I lost you. Okay, you're back. But you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Where did you lose me?
You painted the picture of Lisbon, of the city.
Okay. So did you hear the part where I talked about how it was initially pitched to me, this Euro Cup of beach football? So it was originally pitched to me like, you're going to be commentating the Euro Cup of beach football in Alghero in Sardinia, this beautiful island off of the coast of Italy. And then the reality was, that I was going to be in this locutorio, like this little booth in Portugal. But like I said, it was intense. It was a valuable experience. It got broadcasted on ESPN. So if any American listeners out there, audience of ours, heard it by any chance, it was me and another guy doing it, a young kid. And, I came back completely burnt out on Monday. I needed a proper day's rest on Tuesday to kind of get back to some sort of normality. But as you can still see, I feel like I've aged like 5 years in those 6 years and 6 days.
You look the same. It's in your head. What's the prep like for something like that? Are you researching all the star players beforehand and getting the scouting reports, strengths, weaknesses? Like, how in depth do you go?
So it was really completely left up to us how deep we would go or not. And dude, I would not have been able to do this job. And there's an important part that I wanted to mention, which I just remembered, which I forgot. But I would have not been able to do this job without ChatGPT. I'm going to be upfront and honest. I would introduce all of the scores in ChatGPT and all of the day summaries and just keep ChatGPT updated, and then say, Estonia is playing Poland for the 7th and 8th spot. Up next, give me a pregame report, key matchups, stats, anything you got. So and it came up huge. Did
you verify all of it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it was. Most of it was pretty standard, as in it took a pretty general language and sort of a approach to kind of key matchups, matching striker against striker, defender against defender, goalie against goalie, etc. And in terms of top goal scorers or the goal scoring tally, that was easy verifiable just because of the homepage. They kept stats, the main ones, up to date. So
that's great. Technology, baby.
Oh, it was fantastic. Technology.
The next thing you should try
what
is
I wanted to say.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it was just that the whole week culminated, of course, into the quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, and you're talking Division A, which is the top dogs of Europe, Division B, which is the ones that are fighting for promotion, the one promotion spot from Division B to Division A, and then the women's division. Okay. So we did 48 games in 6 days each. And on the last day where you're like, okay, I'm all pumped up for the knockout phase, you're also doing games to determine the 11th, 12th spot, you know, the 9th and 10th, the 7th and 8th. So there's absolute dog shit games, I have to say. And I shouldn't say that. I should have kept this for the Patreon edition.
They're not listening.
Please. Don't get me fired. I loved it. I would love another experience at this. But
Cut Diego a break if you're listening. Cut Diego a break. Promote him.
It was yes. It was very challenging on the last day to, you know, muster up like the excitement and energy after basically living Groundhog's Day for 6 days straight.
Sure.
Where again you're doing an Estonia Poland, with all respect to Estonia and Poland, especially Estonia, which surprised me with one of their main striker. But you know, it all paid off. The final, to give you an idea, Kiyan, and I'll finish with that. The final was for the men's division. Division A was Italy-Spain, and Italy walked away with it with a narrow 5-4 victory. It was very exciting.
Oh, okay.
Thereby, Italy is now the 3-time champion. Spain have won 5. Portugal is the first with 8. And they got knocked out by Italy as well in the semis. The Spain's women team won against Portugal 3-2, also a thrilling final. So the women's Spain team are, you know, dominating the pitch and the sand. I thought that was quite clever when I came up with that.
Playing football on sand is so much more difficult.
Exhausting. So
like,
exhausting.
Your calves are like getting a workout with every step. It's not level. Like it's difficult. Like it's really physically challenging to do.
Yeah.
So like respect.
Absolutely.
Like you can't really control or
these
dribble
guys
the same
and
way.
Women.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they put their bodies on the line, Kiyan. I have a newfound respect for the game of beach soccer because like they go into tackles hard and they wear no protection. There's no shoes, obviously, but there's no, you know, shin guards. There's just a little bit of tape. And,
what's the strategy? Like, if you're like, are they passing it around like they would? Because like to me, when you pass on sand, there's just too many bumps. Like you don't know if you like how do they get the ball to each other? Is it a lot of passing the same way, or is there a different strategy?
Yeah, I mean, there's a very direct game, the direct element to this game, you know, but that's part of the strategy, sort of like in traditional football. The goalkeeper gets in on the action a lot. You see some fucking like absolutely wicked goals from all distances at angles. And the goalkeeper in that regard plays a fundamental element where he's not just important, you know, key defensively, but also offensively. They can just score a goal from goal to goal, from box to box. So, and that goes for passing as well. Yeah. And that goes for passing as well. So passing can be either like directly up the pitch, or they'll play it out from the back where it's either through a lot of lobs, of course. I mean, you don't see the ball roll over the sand a lot. If anything, what they do is they try to throw it in the shot. Well, they'll try to shoot it off the sand to see if they can get an awkward bounce and throw the goalkeeper off, you know?
Yeah.
So it's used, that element of you know, prediction or yeah, what's it called? Predictability.
Yeah.
Or unpredictability rather is plays a huge factor. Yeah.
Or I imagine you're also not passing entirely on the ground. You may pass it in the air, or even if it's low, it's
Flicks
slightly in the air, little flicks and stuff. Yeah. Can we go back to Chat GTP for a second? Because you seem to have gotten some like good pregame analysis and wording and stuff. Why don't you try like using ChatGTP before churros? Like say, hey, ChatGTP, give me a balanced, non-biased view of the corruption in Spanish football. Or you could do like, give me a non-biased.
We going in here now?
Non-biased
Is
view.
that enough lubing up?
Like, was Kepa fouled against Celta Vigo? Like, yes or no?
Well,
hey, ChatGPT, this
it
is
sounds
my
like
spreadsheet.
you have experience doing this. It sounds like you have experience doing this. So
No, I don't need to because I already know that. I already know the truth.
No, you need to. You need to, trust me. I think we all maybe need to. It's not a bad shout. Yeah, it's not a bad shout at all.
All right, so listen.
Yes, sir.
A lot has happened since we last
Where do you
spoke.
want to take this, man?
What's that?
So much. How have you been, man? I said, yeah, so much has happened. How have you been? How's your travels? You obviously had a very busy week yourself.
Yeah.
The nation's capital. Metropolitano looked beautiful. Some very nice pictures that you posted, dude.
Yeah, I've been to that stadium 3 times now, 3 different derbies, and I got nothing bad to say about it. It's a great stadium. It's a fantastic stadium. They also do a great job on the pregame ops, the atmosphere. It's great. I think it's a better derby atmosphere than the Bernabeu. It's quite good. And for any opponent, but for Real Madrid especially, a very hostile atmosphere. So as if the fan side of me, it was a little bit difficult to sit through, getting waxed on the field, and also just the fans going crazy. Not easy, but
Is it? It's there's a hostility there, or what like,
what do you mean?
there's like just a hatred that you're not used to, like because I forget. Have you seen the Clásico in the Camp Nou ever?
No,
or no?
never been.
Actually,
Never
I think
been.
you haven't, right?
No.
No, right. Okay. So you like to give it an element of comparison or context. To
Yeah, I
other
wouldn't know.
stadiums
I've
where
never been to the
Madrid-
Camp Nou, so they don't let me in. We've tried. They don't let us in. They're like, F you guys. But Atletico, like,
Good.
they let us in and they give us more than one spot. So they're very gracious towards us. But
That's nice.
so I was there. That was a difficult game to sit through, but in some ways eye-opening and a good reality check to see where this team is against, up until that point, the biggest test of the season. I don't think we passed it very well. I mean, we didn't pass it, obviously. So
Were you surprised
um,
how lopsided it was in a way, or how?
I think I was I don't know if surprise is the right word. I was disappointed in our defense continues to be a problem. We knew that heading into this game, our defense hasn't been good. And Atletico was the most talented team we've faced so far, so they were able to exploit it, I think, in a way other teams can't. And the problem is, like, if you let Atletico go up as early as we let them, and then make more defensive mistakes, it's like the worst thing you can do against Atletico in their own stadium, when they can now just focus on closing all the channels. Simeone said something really interesting after the game that I didn't see until the day after, so I didn't address it on that night's podcast. But he said, basically paraphrasing, but he said that we're really glad that Jose Lu didn't start because Bellingham had no one to pass to in the box, and we had prepared to basically close his passing lanes into the box, and he was just hunted in that game. But like, he also was, it felt like he was kind of alone in attack. Vinny is back now. That's nice. But yeah, so like, do we have enough juice and firepower in these big games? And if we don't, if we continue to defend as badly as we do, then this is a really bad place to be. We don't have Courtois to save our ass, although Kepa's hasn't been a problem yet. So like, these are just kind of like eye-opening concerns. Like, when you play a big team, you take note of these things and hope that these things can be fixed. We're just getting decimated too at the back. Like, Alaba got injured last game. Rudiger's not 100%, but I think he'll play against Girona. So we're going to try to figure that out. But, we'll see. Vinny's back. We'll see how much that makes a difference.
Is he starting against Girona, I guess? You
Yeah.
got to start him, huh?
Well, Ancelotti confirmed that in today's press conference.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you watch that game live?
And your Champions League? Which one?
Atleti.
Atletico?
Yeah.
No. No chance. No, it was impossible. I had to watch it on the replay.
Yeah. I did not watch the Barca game, so I can't really speak to it.
I know. I mean, there was as as in all games, a bunch of controversy. I don't know how you guys felt about certain calls not going your way, certain ones against Atleti, maybe.
Yeah, there was some sketchy calls, but I think if you ask the fan base on a whole, the focus was less about that and more about the performance was bad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I don't like, again, you know how much I hate when Real Madrid TV puts out their video. I hate that. So
dude, they've been relentless, man. Yeah. They're doing back to back to back. Like they're just relentless.
It feels like
at some point. Did you see the there was you probably didn't see it. There was an interview. I'm letting my Dutch accent come out. There was an interview with Javier Tebas, the president of La Liga, and on TV here in Spain, local television, and he. Anyway, what I'm bringing the point for this was
what did Tebas
with Real Madrid TV. Well, basically, actually, now that I'm saying that, I think he was asked this on the radio instead. But whether the club Real Madrid could get reprehended or could get sanctioned for the stuff that its TV station is putting out, and effectively he kind of dodged it. But as the way I understand it, I mean, they could, because Real Madrid TV falls under the premises, right, of the domain of the club. Therefore, it needs to get the clearance, or anyway, the main responsible party, let's say, for what content is putting out is the club.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because if this was the NBA, the fine would be slapped right away. Right? If there's like any criticism of the referee or anything, NBA slaps you with a fine. My guess is that in this situation, Tebas might be like, man, like if I'm just like thinking out loud here, right? I don't know if this is what he's thinking, but what a headache, man.
We all know what he's thinking.
What a headache. Like, first of all, the hate between Real Madrid and the league is at a very high level right now. Every single thing, like they just disagree with each other. Even if they don't actually disagree, they'll probably just disagree for the sake of it. And Tebas is probably thinking, like, I'm already at war with these guys. Now I got to give them a fine. They're not going to pay the fine. They're going to take it's going to go with like a 3-year court case of like, do they have to pay a fine for talking about the referees? You might just be thinking like, man, it's too much of a headache to even go down another rabbit hole with these guys on another subject. I guess that's probably going through his head right now.
He was whenever he spoke about Florentino in these two interviews on the radio and the television, he was very onderdanig, very submissive, saying Florentino's a person that never loses. Florentino is the greatest president of Real Madrid. The war that you describe between La Liga and Madrid, I think, is less fiercely fought as a could be because of the sympathy as well, and I mean, Tebas being a Madridista himself, Florentino being the person that he is, and Madrid the club, I don't think that Tebas is sticking his chest out as like, let's say, in a sort of defiant way, but more kind of like as a servant, if you will, because.
I mean, I also don't know what the rules are in this case of like, are you allowed to criticize referees? Is that not allowed? I honestly, it's a genuine question. It's not like, I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, of course, that we know that Madrid are already paying the fines for not doing the interviews. They were the only club that did when it went against La Liga to not allow microphones, cameras, yada yada yada.
And so, I think they would ultimately be like, okay, if we have to pay a fine to talk our shit, we'll pay the fine. I think like, you know what I mean? So yeah. I don't think it's not like putting a huge dent in their pocket, not getting the money that comes with these cameras, these new cameras this season. So I don't think they care about the financial aspect of the repercussions.
It would be
of putting
nice
out a video
if
like
at
this.
some point they would play ball with the rest, though. No, I mean, wouldn't you like to have access to all that?
As a fan, yeah. But at the same time, I get why you don't want cameras around. I understand, like because I there's a couple examples. One is like maybe you just don't want people to know what you're saying from on a tactical level, but also like to me the locker room is kind of like the boys WhatsApp group. Like you should be allowed to say whatever you want there without anyone looking in and kind of putting it under a microscope. Like I understand as a fan, I think it would be amazing to just see more access and more things, but I understand also the other side of it, why you wouldn't want that. And I also know that Real Madrid can just make their own footage and put out their own documentaries and be in control of what.
As they do, as they already do.
Yeah, so
as they do.
So that part of it, I also
Stronghold continues, my friend. Yes.
Yeah. So
last dictator standing, Florentino Perez.
It's a choice, man, and everyone can literally say yes or no to the cameras. That's not unique to Real Madrid.
Hey, dude, is the connection all right? Like, I hope it's not going to cut out again.
It's fine. In the beginning of the podcast, it was a little dodgy, but it has been good for a while now, so it's good.
Because I'm hub spotting now to my phone because it's
hub spotting. Is that the same as hot spotting?
I meant hot. Is it not hub spot? Is it hot spot?
HOT hot spot.
What is the hub spot then?
I don't know. I thought maybe it's a new thing that Spain has as a hub spot. I don't know what it is, but hot spot, yeah.
My God, it's good to see you again, Kiyan.
Likewise, bro. It's been a while.
These are tough, man. Tough days to be. It's
I think it's safe to say,
especially when you're on the path of trying to stay optimistic and productive and looking on, trying to look at the bright side of things. It's tiresome having to endure what the club and fans are enduring these days.
Do you feel like I believe our last podcast was the Messi Ronaldo thing, was it not?
Yes.
I don't know if there's an unfinished
absolute dog shit of a podcast that was as well.
I don't know if there's unfinished conversation
unfinished beef there.
But I don't know if we want to get into that now.
Yes.
But I just wanted to say one thing about it is that for all your complaints about this is a Madridista podcast, there was just Kounde and Messi army in my mentions. This is
I didn't see any of it.
Go on my TikTok. So this is the unique
TikTok.
This is a unique thing about TikTok is that TikTok doesn't show it to just your audience. TikTok shows it to whatever audience is interested in Messi or whatever the subject is, right? And so they came after me. I was showing my wife some of the comments. One of them was like, I think I even showed you. One was like, I really hope that this guy does not have children.
Oh, you didn't.
He's too stupid to have children. There was like,
yeah, you did.
There was personal threats. There was oh man, the vitriol was insane, and it was great because I was like, I don't want Diego to think this is like a one-sided thing. So if we want to promote this podcast to more Koundes, I think we got to post on TikTok more.
We got him. Yeah. Clearly. I do. And I want it to be more of a level playing field because it's, like I said, things can get tiresome at times, especially when you're trying to force the brain into a positive dynamic and having to, and like the debates with you is one thing, but it's the aftermath that is off-putting to me. And that's why, yes, I mean, in my view, and I don't think I'm going out on a stretch here. This is predominantly a Madridista pod, an extension of Managing Madrid. It's Madridistas versus one Kounde, we could call this.
No, it's not like that. It's not like
that. A little bit. I mean, come on, man. You'd be silly to deny that. At least give me that.
I think
you've got 40,000 followers. Managing Madrid has got another 40. It's I have 2,000, and I'll tell you. Besides the numbers, the following.
Managing Madrid has a lot more than 40.
I'll give a big compliment to Managing Madrid. Okay, well, how much is it? 80,000?
I think like if you put all the socials together, it's like almost 300.
Well, there you go, 300,000 against 2,000.
But it has been.
But can I just say one thing? You guys, and by that I mean Twitter Madrid, have got one thing going for you very well, and that is the unity that exists amongst Twitter Madrid.
Every fan
Barca,
base
we
has
don't
that.
really Barca Twitter don't. Yeah, but Barca don't have. We don't have the Barca Blaugranes. I mean, they don't serve their audience, their
Oh
public.
well, them
like
specifically,
Managing Madrid does.
Barca. They do well. They get a lot of visitors on their website, but they don't do anything on social media at all.
No, and there's no like hub. There's no hub spot, for the Barca Twitter people to kind of like convene, or there's Barca Spaces, and there's Barca good Barca Twitter accounts certainly, but they're individuals. You guys, I think, are collectively much more united, and
I don't think so. I mean, I think every fan base is copy and paste the same, man.
That's my perception.
Every fan base is the same. Like, you have your army, you have your biased ones, you have your negative ones, your pessimistic ones, your optimistic ones. Then you have like the wars within the fan base of like, my favorite player should start over your favorite player.
Yeah.
My coach sucks, or my coach is the greatest coach of all time. Like, there's like within our fan base, there's Ancelotti haters. There's also the people who feel that Ancelotti is the greatest thing, like coach ever to play the game, or to ever coach the game. Then you got like, over the years, you think about Ramos fans versus Isco fans. That was very toxic. And then, anyways, it just goes on. But then I think every fan base has that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's a unique Real Madrid thing.
Okay.
What was I going to say?
But you can't name, like, there is no equivalent to a Man Madrid for Barca on Twitter. There's not.
Not that I know of, but I'm also
There isn't.
Aloof with some of this stuff that happens on Twitter, because I don't know. Maybe there's something I don't know about. But
anyway, I've decided to step back from Twitter, though. I'm kind of like.
All right, welcome to the family. I haven't checked
I'll
Twitter
jump on.
in almost 2 years, bro. I just post and
Really?
talk my shit. Yeah, I don't check it. I was like,
Really?
I was like showing Lucas my. I show like everyone this when I'm with them, like my notifications button on Twitter. I have not clicked that button in almost 2 years. I don't know what happens there. And it's great. Like, it's just peace of mind. I don't know if there's a war going on. I don't know if there's like something else. I don't know what's happening. But it's just for my own mental health, man. That's it. That's all it is. Like,
That's it. You lo has clavado, tío.
Yeah.
You nailed it. Mental health. So, with that being said, what's next? Should we jump over to Patreon? How long have we been going here?
I don't know, like 40 minutes. I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of things to say. We can save some for Patreon, but I did want to say that on.
What do you want to tell our people?
When did Barca play? Was it Wednesday? No, Tuesday, I think.
We played Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah. Tuesday night, I was out to dinner with some of my friends, and I was planning on watching the Barca game, but I was like, whatever. I kind of in the mood to just go out and just chill and have some tapas, right? I don't want to watch football right now. And so I went out, and then like in the 80th minute, my friend showed me the score of the Barca game, and I was like, whatever. They'll score at the end. I was shocked to see that they actually dropped points. It was the first Barca game that I haven't really watched. So I'm curious to get your perception of it. Was it like a 2-2 where you're like, we got unlucky, or was it a 2-2 like there's problems here? What kind of 2-2 was it?
Yeah, no, definitely the latter, unfortunately. It was not a game. Okay, in the end, you're saying 2-2. We're still undefeated. It's dropping 2 points. More importantly, dropping the liderato, right? The leadership, the number one spot.
Yeah.
Which we had just managed to claim. But you kind of saw it coming as well. And the big takeaway was that it was not a performance that you want to build on, or that you say was a step in the right direction. It was uncharacteristic. We saw an uncharacteristic amount of individual errors, obviously, particularly in defense, particularly by Marc-André Stegen, who, at least in my books, and again, I don't know how Barca Twitter has taken it out on the German goalkeeper, but for me, the sheer amount of times that he saved their asses, he's got a few passes now. And even
That
if it's
happens a few times this season with him.
Yeah. And the same can be said for the rest of the defense. Obviously, in the case of Araujo, he has just gotten back. The worrisome sign for me, and this was in the back of my head as he came on, was I was thinking about you and your kind of prediction, if you will, that Kounde was going downhill and he's a liability at times in the back and makes silly mistakes. Well, that was the case here as well, because at the end of the day, Mallorca could have won this game 3-2 as well. And the same can be said about Celta. I mean, these were teams that at the end had it within themselves or had it at their feet to take the 3 points. And, we would have been singing a whole different song today. We're not seeing good football. We're not seeing solid play by Barca. We're certainly seeing some individuals, cream rising to the top. And there are certainly some standout moments where even collectively this team come together and, se aprietan los huevos. They grind their teeth or other body parts together and pull out a satisfactory result. Or a win, like the 6 minutes against Celta, which were absolute madness. But against Celta, it was, I had hoped that it was going to happen, but it was always going to leave a bittersweet taste in my mouth, because right now it's like, we're coming from such good results against Betis, the 5-0. Obviously, the debut game in the Champions League against a weak, yes, Belgian side, but 10 goals in 2 games, right? Something that we all kind of hoped that would be something to build on. Then the heroic, emphatic comeback against Celta after also some very questionable performances in that game, to then have this game against Mallorca slip from underneath you, where you just feel like there's a lack of fluidity, a lack of communication, of drive, really. I mean, it's all we repeat each other every single year, I feel sometimes, man. It's like and that's concerning. That's and I will say as well that I, for one, and I know I've seen that other people said it as well, but for me, it was very, very evident on the day itself, during the game, that when Lamine Yamal came on and he lit that game up, I'm just going to say it, man. Raphinha, you were not playing him the ball on purpose. And that was really frustrating. Raphinha clearly was sending that ball left, time and time again, when he had the hungry young Lamine Yamal to his right, ready to make that run into space. And the times he did, he was really dangerous. So I was like, just keep feeding the youngster the goddamn ball. He's on fire. He's got it. Give it to him. He's got it, And in moments like that, when you don't see the team come together in crucial minutes and moments of the game, that's like, that becomes concerning. So but that's all like consequences, I feel, as well, of an entire game just not having worked out, where you reach the end of the game with the adrenaline high, with the urgency to push the team over the edge, but then again, I mean, that's how you guys won 3 consecutive Champions Leagues, meaning like that's like something that's always attributed to Real Madrid, to fight until the end, even when you're playing 90 minutes of absolute shit. At the end of the day, what really counts are the 3 points, so that allows you to at least approach the next game with a little bit of peace in mind, and not be, the coach being in the hot seat, under fire, under pressure, because the result's not going your way and you just let slip the number 1 spot and yada yada. Next up is Sevilla, and we know that Real Madrid and Girona, for that matter, are not dropping any points, or very little. So that's that, I guess, Kiyan. That's kind of my opinion.
Well,
I will say one last thing, Kiyan, and then I want you to get on this. It was great to be in Portugal with the breakout of the Joaos. I mean, Portugal was like, I was getting mad love from the Portuguese. Joao Felix and Cancelo were obviously heroes there, and they're super happy that they're having such a positive impact on the team, and so am I for that matter.
There were rotations that game slightly, right? I mean, Lewandowski, Yamal.
Yeah. Well, Raphinha, Lamine Yamal are sort of, they're neither of them are fixed starters,
Right.
You could say so.
I guess in my opinion, Yamal is the player I would start.
Lamine Yamal. Yeah.
And then you guys got Sevilla today.
Yes.
Maybe you start those guys. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll check in a minute here, but I would assume, although what kickoff is at 9 now, they won't be called out yet.
Yeah, it's too early.
Lamine
Xavi
Yamal
said in this week's press conference, in one of them, that last season Barca's defense was better, and we need to get back to that level.
Well, clearly, no. I mean, we conceded the same amount of goals at this point in the season.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy, but I do think
that's crazy.
There's part of it like I feel like last season there was a little bit of luck involved. I don't think you were lucky to win the league or lucky to have a good defense. That's not what I'm saying. But just luck in the sense that maybe those defensive numbers were a little bit skewed because a lot of it was on Ter Stegen being unbelievable. And also just the underlying analytics shows that opponents missed some easy chances against you guys last season.
Okay,
so
but don't take anything away from Araujo. A very good trident factor in Kounde that was superb. Araujo obviously as well, and even Christensen and Balde for that matter, or Marcos Alonso were very
No, I don't.
good
I don't.
seasons.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I think last season, if you replay that again like 100 times, I feel like I don't think you'll concede as little as you did last season again. Like I feel like there was some luck involved there. That's all. But I agree the defense was
Well, luck
great.
is always an element.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's definitely, I think, a change. The communication in the back is not what it was last season, and I think in particular in those terms, there's a lot of you heard it from Cancelo himself after the game. He was super disappointed, and he kept reiterating, even in after the the Celta game and again after Mallorca, that he made many individual and tactical errors, and he was very self-critical. So there's a lot of things right now in the back that still need to be adjusted. In Joao's case, both of them, they have just touched down and are a seamless fit, but still need some time to adjust. For example, like all this criticism and mainly from the press towards Joao Felix, I felt was very unfair and quite honestly, I was surprised and a little bit annoyed that Xavi took him out after, what was it? Just after 60 something minutes, like after the hour mark, because I felt that he was still being productive. It wasn't maybe as high and on par with his previous two performances, but I thought that he was still gave this element of unpredictability and had this connection with the forwards, Lewandowski, who had just come subbed on as well. So I felt that he could have and should have probably stayed. Whereas like Lamine Yamal, I would have put him on maybe sooner as well. So, and Oriol Romeo had just a bad game. He had a bad game. Inigo Martinez is new. He's coming off of injury as well. Like I said, Araujo, the same, más de lo mismo, the same. So, it's there's work. There's werk aan de winkel. There's work to do here for Xavi, and tonight's going to be difficult. I don't really know what to expect. I'm excited for it. I will say
it's
that.
Sevilla. Come on. Did you see
come on.
Did you see the question to Xavi today about Ramos and Pepe?
No.
Oh, it's great. I mean, the question itself was I don't know about great, but just it was a funny thing. Like normally I would have been that's a stupid question. I still do think that, but at least it was funny. Someone asked Xavi in the press conference today. Here's the quote, the exact question. The next 2 matches are against a team with Sergio Ramos and another team with Pepe. Do you fear for the physical safety of your players? And he just started laughing and he said, no. And then I think at the end he was like, I hope not. But it was a funny moment because I think everyone in the press room started laughing and Xavi started laughing.
Yeah,
but
Xavi's had a lot of those kind of questions where, let's say, a humoristic tone to the press conference is introduced.
I wonder how the room would read it if someone asked, if El Chiringuito asked Ancelotti, like, you're playing Gavi tomorrow. Do you feel fear for the safety of your players? Do you think that would have been interpreted with more hostility, or you think it would have been the same kind of entertainment value?
I don't know, man. Like he has a way to sort of deflect questions with the same type of humor.
Yeah,
that you see a Xavi do. Having said that, he's also had very serious responses recently on like what's his the el presidente del Atleti, the Gil Martin, right?
Yeah.
And now the Negreira case, like he's very worried, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm surprised he said that. I just thought he would have done the canned it's not my place kind of thing. Like
that's what I would have expected. Yeah.
So
let's jump over to Patreon, son.
Wait, just one more quick question, and then we'll jump over. Is Ramos just going to get annihilated by the Camp Nou tonight? Like the reception?
First of all, get this in your head. We won't be back.
Oh,
to the
okay,
Camp Nou.
but you know what I mean, like the fans.
Yeah, but it's different. It's different.
Okay, sorry. I apologize.
You don't have nearly 100,000 people yelling at you. It's a fraction of that. It's gonna be
pretty.
It won't be hostile. There'll be a few petillos, a few whistles.
No, come on. Every time he gets the ball, he's gonna get booed for sure.
I don't know. I think you're expecting too much. If you're expecting for full 90 minutes, like hostility, whistles, shouts.
I think he'll get booed every time he gets the ball. I think he will. You don't think?
All right.
That's my prediction.
I'll say that it'll last maybe 10, 15 minutes.
No, I think it goes all the way through. Unless Sevilla somehow like win, or they're winning, and or like Ramos.
The score. I was gonna say the score has an influence on that too. Yeah.
All right, cool. Some juicy questions over on patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas. We're gonna stop the recording here. Thanks for listening, guys, and thanks for bearing with our little hiatus there. We're back to normal now. So let's go over to Patreon.
2 hours of churros coming at you. Jump on over to patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas. The commitment, baby. Back-to-back sesh. Don't miss out.
Let's do it.
Juicy.
Thanks for listening, guys. Peace.